Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning and welcome again to the challenge. As always, we'd like to first and foremost thank God for another opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. We're excited about this season on the challenge. We aim to bring to you folks who are in our neighborhoods, who are making a difference, who are giving it their all to try and change those ideologies, change the stigmas that have been attached to the grassroots community. Folks ought to know, and they ought to hear from folks like my guest this morning, who is, in my opinion, clearly a diamond in the rough. In the interest of full disclosure, this young man, James Raynor, actually is a first cousin to my niece and nephew, if you will, and without going into a whole bunch of explanation, that kind of makes us kindred. Yeah, I think that we are in a lot of ways a kindred spirit. I've noticed it from the very first encounter with this young man. In my opinion, again, he's a diamond in the rough, an entrepreneur with a heart to make a difference in his community. Has gone through a lot in his first 29, 30 years of life, has endured and has been placed on a solid path, in my opinion, to success and to the achievements that God had certainly intended for him to have. James, welcome to the challenge.
Welcome. Thank you.
All
for
right,
having me.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks
Yes,
for having me.
indeed. Yes, indeed. We'll start wherever you want to start. I don't know. I'd like to, say to the audience that your story is unique, but maybe you don't necessarily feel like it's unique, but it's like, what happens to a lot of young men, young brothers, if you will, who are trying, to live this American dream, if you will, and have a life, frankly, that is filled with, the fun and the, the amenities, and filled with the, the same promise that everybody else has. I know for you, it took some turns, some twists and turns to get you to where you are now. So share with us what you will about your life, and bring us at least up until age 18 and 19.
Age 18 and 19. Okay. I was, born and raised in, Hartford, Connecticut. That's what they call it. The heartbeat. In all of the whatever, if you want to call them the ghettos, or I call them the mean cold streets.
Okay.
Because if you don't know no better, you won't do better. So pretty much, if you know better, you'll do better.
Right.
At that time, like I said, to the age 18, 19, young growing up, I probably was about 5 or 6 years old when I actually got into the program called Project Concern that
Okay.
my mom actually put us in as children. What it is a program where they bus kids from the cities and bus them out to, towns like Newington, Bristol,
The suburbs.
The suburbs. Yeah,
Okay.
the suburbs. Get a more enlightenment on education, pretty much.
Sure.
I didn't really see anything too much different from it, but as I grown up, to learn how to articulate my words, be confident, and doing these things, and it was like a challenge more or less because I was from the city,
Sure.
from the ghetto, and
Absolutely.
then getting put into their mainstream
Right,
life,
right.
out there where people own businesses and parents are married,
Yeah.
so they more or less have the upper hand pretty much, in business life and things like
Yeah.
that. So it was a challenge for me going to school, but I did it, I would say to myself as growing up, I was just always different, from the rest. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay.
I didn't see myself as a mainstream type of kid. I always had dreams and goals and wanted to do, better for myself. I was taught at a very, very young age that you can only go so far with blaming somebody about, pretty much your problems or how you
Right.
grew up and this, that, and the third. There has to be a point in life where you can make a choice and, go forward with it if you believe in yourself and confidence yourself. So I think that was one of the many things that God had blessed me with, that intuition and just ministering to me mentally or spiritually or however it may be, where I will get pushed to, go forward.
Sure.
So, going up through, grade school, elementary, middle school, all the way to high school, I graduated.
So you enjoyed school?
Oh man, that
School
was
was
one.
fun.
Man, it was one of my places. Like I said, I wasn't in the hood per se. I didn't go to Fox. I didn't go to Middle. I didn't go to Weaver. I was always bust out.
These are all public
Yeah,
schools, or were
yeah,
public
all-
schools at the time.
There you go.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Public schools at a time where it was a lot of mischief when I was coming up.
Right.
Kids fighting their teachers. It was always in the news. There's a bunch of stuff going on because my family was going through school, so I knew pretty much what was going on. My cousins, my brothers, and,
Yeah.
things of that nature. So I knew what was going on. So when I went to school, it was kind of like an outlet for me.
Sure.
I was kind of like a star, pretty much.
Wow.
Because I was on a wrestling team, football
Right.
team.
Right.
Educated.
Right, right.
And then most, charming. You know what I mean? So
Right,
pretty much. So it was like a place of serenity for me to learn more. And a part of me was. If I'm getting bust out this far, I need to do something with it.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage of
Sure.
it, and pretty much become somebody that my mom, my dad can be proud of, my family can be proud of, or whatever.
Were you by
whatever it
yourself,
is.
or were there other
Yeah, there
young
was-
men like yourself?
Absolutely. It was a few of us, about probably 13 of us. But by the time we got to high school, it was probably about 5 of us.
Oh,
People
wow.
fall by the
Right.
wayside.
right.
Didn't
Not
graduate.
able to really adjust to the lifestyle and adjust to the environment that you sort of
Families been moved.
Okay.
Moved out.
Right.
Can't get in the program for certain reasons.
Sure.
Or whatever the case may be. I just thank God that my mom, pretty much stayed strong, and my dad, and supporting us and making sure we got to school. We missed that bus, they drove us.
Wow.
There was no games.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. You're going to school.
Yeah, so
you're
that
going to
was
school.
that was kind of instilled into it, But I was more motivated to graduate in high school because a lot of people didn't think I was going to graduate high school. A lot of people,
Why?
just
Why
thought-
would they? Why would they feel that way? Do you know?
because like where we grew up at.
Oh,
Some people would think that you're better than them because you go out of school, out of town to school.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? You're not
Yeah.
doing the same things that they're doing, or
Right.
maybe just or just pretty much follow suit with the rest of the individuals.
So they didn't think you would graduate because they felt like the place that you were going to school was so different than where they were that it would be more difficult for you to finish.
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much. So,
Okay.
So that was like one of my biggest, goals, just to show everybody
Right.
and prove it wrong that I can graduate just like everybody else.
Sure.
Went across the stage and we graduated pretty much right here on at the Bushnell right here.
Oh.
When they first, rebuilt the Coliseum for us. So that's
Right.
when we had a chance to do that. So it was quite a few of us graduating. And then after high school, I graduated at 18, going on 19. I went to a technical school called
Okay.
Barron Institute of Technology.
Okay.
Where I took up a trade as a diesel mechanic to learn how to fix on, trucks and
Sure.
bulldozers and things
Sure.
of this nature. I didn't want to waste any time.
Making money.
Yeah, I didn't want a big gap out of high school and then get caught up into anything.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. I still ended up getting caught up in the streets. Because it's like I said, man, school is one thing, and then living
Right.
And the area
in the
is
neighborhood
another.
is a whole new.
There you go. So you know what I mean. So a lot of things wasn't didn't go according to plan.
Right.
But God's plan was what it was.
Amen.
Bottom line.
Amen.
At the
Amen.
age of 19, 18 going on 19, was sent to prison. I was sent to prison for a serious crime, pretty much. Just like I said, protecting myself in the area and environment.
Sure.
Ended up doing 5 years.
Okay.
I was released when I was 24.
Okay.
But all this time, and this is right after I finished trade school. Like as
Wow.
soon as I graduated the school,
Yeah.
finished the courses, got the certificates and certs and everything.
Yeah.
Boom. I was
Wow.
just taken away from my family for a long. That 5 years is a long time.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
When I left my little brothers,
Especially at that age.
18
yeah.
to 24. So pretty much, 19, because it was about a month when I was in there. I turned 19.
Right.
So that's what that was. So, but while I was in there, like I said, I always was wanting more out of
Sure.
myself, challenging
Sure.
myself. So I studied. I
Right.
took psychology.
Right.
From community colleges that I
Right.
was going to the prisons, culinary arts. Getting more certs and more education, so
That's right.
I can, pretty much get on a straight path when I
Right.
was released. Just wanted to just change my life, because I didn't want to be in prison for all my life.
Of course not. Of course
or
not.
keep,
Right.
have that, that revolving door, because pretty much what it can turn into. You keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you just build a record for yourself. You never be able to get a job. So, but
In revolving door sort of thing.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But through all that time, God has blessed me around individuals that was in the prison that was pretty much educated and seen something in me that, different. Where they taught me a lot of entrepreneur things, got me reading magazines, Kiplinger's, Black Enterprise, that let me know I can really do it, man, because I was articulate, writing my own stories or whatever the case may be. And then I just, I started, before I was going to be released, I started contacting, diesel mechanic places, writing resumes, mailing it out, letting them know I'm going to be coming home on parole or a halfway house or whatever it should be, just trying to find, a job for when I got out and foundation to start my life. And pretty much God just laid it all out for me too. And it happened exactly like that.
Wow.
I was released in 2008, right after Valentine's Day. First job was at IHOP through my culinary arts.
Sure.
I was a cook. Second job was at Beer Institute. I give thanks to all these individuals. I'm not Beer Institute, excuse me, Butler Company.
Okay.
Out in Windsor, that was a diesel place where I was fixing on trucks.
Okay.
And then I just landed a job doing what I do now. As an entrepreneur, I'm in marketing and sales. Okay, because I like to talk to people.
Absolutely.
I do door-to-door, business to business, and then that's what it was from that time. So from '08 to right now, I'm age 30, just turned 30 years old. All that, the past is behind me.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to the future and doing things, to help individuals like, such as myself or anybody else in a situation that think that they can't do it.
Absolutely.
It is a challenge, but at the same time, life is a challenge.
Absolutely.
And like I said, you can't keep going on blaming nobody about nothing. So you got to pretty much go forward with it and just be positive towards what was going on. So that's pretty much what I was doing from that time. So from school, it was school, street, school, street, school, street, boom, prison. Now it was work.
Right. Oh, okay. All right.
Living, so that's pretty much it is. So the challenge is to live.
Right. Well, I tell you, your story, and I obviously nobody can tell you a story like you tell your story, and you've certainly, in my opinion, done a beautiful job in giving us a snapshot of it within the time frame that we're given to talk about it, because I'm sure there's so many more.
It's a lot. It's a lot, man. You can write a novel. Literally.
Right.
They just know you're on TV, and there's certain things that like I said, we don't have enough time to really go into detail about certain things, but it was a very, very challenging experience.
Well, I want to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about school, and the kinds of things in school that made a difference to you, and because that's kind of your foundation, if you will, for the decisions that you make in life. Then what kinds of people, if you will, that were in school that may or may not have influenced you. And I know you're an independent thinker, and I know you're an assertive, guy who knows what he wants. So a lot of that is instinctive and it's innate. It's an innate quality that you have. But certainly there must have been somebody or something that prompted your interest.
Well, one time, like I said, I was in school, man. I don't want to say. I say I was in school around a bunch of Caucasian
That's fine.
You know,
yeah.
Asian, Lithuanian, Polish.
Okay,
You know, a lot of different ethnic backgrounds.
Right.
So it was a challenge for me just being black.
Gotcha.
Bottom line.
So you're one
off the bat.
Yeah. So you're one person whom they know comes from the city into the suburbs, and now you're in their world, if you will, or in their environment.
Yeah.
So how are you treated?
Pretty much I was treated fairly, but then again, it's a mask that people wear as well.
Okay.
You know, an uncomfortable mask where they don't know how to communicate. So a lot of the teachers, that had,
And you felt that as a young man.
Yeah. Praise God. Praise God.
You could feel their insecurities, and you could feel their fear towards you.
And fear was a lot. Fear was like just from coming out of Hartford.
Okay.
Just from coming out of Hartford, like the kids there thought that we was in Iraq. For real.
Right,
for real.
yeah,
They looked at it as like, man, like they would never ever set foot. I don't know what was said to them, through their parents but when I started, so my task was more or less getting people comfortable. Get them comfortable around me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to look at me no other way. I'm human just like you human.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because I live here, you just got to learn how to live here.
Sure.
That's all.
Right. Of course, yeah.
Just don't go to certain areas,
Right.
don't go to certain parties.
Yeah.
Don't, put yourself out there where you can, allow anything bad to happen to you. So they just think this Hartford's just bad.
Wow.
That's how they looked at it. It's just bad, and anybody that comes from it is just bad.
And you spent how many years in that environment? That was from grade,
from
first grade till.
No, I'll say from like second grade, because I
second grade,
all the way to high school.
To high school.
Yeah, so
that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
We have to stop this segment, but we're not going to be finished with this conversation. We're going to do part 2, if you will, with you, and we want to talk more about the adjustments that you made to live in that environment, and the adjustments that you had to make once you were out of that environment. Okay. We'll be right back with Mr. James Raynor here on The Challenge. Stay tuned for part 2 of The Challenge with James Raynor, entrepreneur, diamond in the rough, a young man who certainly has tremendous promise.